Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Arrow episode 10 video. They did all the things. There are now 3 versions of the Black Canary. So let's break it down. Just careful for spoilers if you haven't seen the episode yet. People are going to be reacting to this for a while. There were a couple big twists in the episode, but the biggest was probably like the last couple minutes where they revealed who is going to be the new Black Canary on the TV show. They didn't say outright, but they heavily implied, so I'll try to explain everything. And there is a new round of the Injustice giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just for a copy of the game. Man, they really packed it into like those last couple minutes of that episode. Like, they want you to know that there's so much stuff coming in the back half of the season. Stephen Amell was teasing stuff on Twitter, so I'll try to include some of that in the video too. So let's do top 12 instead of top 10. But number 12, just picking up in the last moments of the mid-season finale where he sees Laurel in the Arrow cave. This is just like, WTF, what the hell are you doing here? And she tries to explain it, but he's very reluctant. There was this big thing in the episode where Oliver has this policy of trust but verify. Felicity was kind of doing the same thing from her end of things. And most of us had a pretty good idea of what was going on. Like, we'd seen the promos, we'd had a lot of theories about which version of Laurel it was based on what the producers have said, the rules that they've created for themselves. There aren't a lot of rules in the comic book world, but Arrow has like a couple set rules for itself. And one is no more resurrections, which was a nice joke in the episode. Number 11 is the crackpot explanation that she gives to Oliver, and he's very skeptical because he's like, I was there, I saw everybody, you were nowhere to be found. Like, he had a vision of her, but it was just sort of like headcanon Laurel. It was like his mind speaking to himself through his subconscious. So she says that after all that, Sarah went back and pulled her out of time. She asked Sarah to drop her off here. My favorite reaction that Felicity had in that moment, because she's just immediately like, oh my god, it's a miracle, this is wonderful. But then she's like, wait a minute, isn't it a coincidence that you arrive just after Oliver's found out that he's murdered my boyfriend and after the Dominators did this big assault on the planet that we had to team up for? So even if you had no idea that this was Black Siren, like, already there are like big warning lights going off in the background. But then number 10, Oliver goes to meet Diggle, and we learn what the plans are going to be for the back half of the season. 1, Diggle is going to try and get out the legal way, which is where the district attorney comes in, and Oliver is continuing to track down the woman, quote-unquote the woman that we actually saw at the end of the episode, that trained him in Prometheus back in Russia. So that's Talia al Ghul. So that's going to be a big part of the back half of the season. So they're teeing up some hardcore stuff in the flashbacks, but because of all the Prometheus stuff that's happening in present day, that means that we'll also see Talia in present day eventually. Number 9 was the Bratva boss that has it out for Oliver. He's the guy that's working with Kovar and is sort of like a more corrupt version of one of his Bratva brothers. So it's sort of like honor amongst thieves. They're kind of like the rogues. They have a code of honor, but this person is like way worse than that. He's working with Kovar and is trying to turn Oliver in a reverse version of what Oliver's trying to do with Black Siren in present day. So that kind of teed you off as to what was going to be happening with Black Siren a little bit, because Oliver wasn't going to change, and even though you wonder about Black Siren, it seems like she's not going to change either. But there's a whole bunch of Black Siren that we have to talk about. Number 8 was the actual Black Siren reveal. That was so funny, where she's working on the DNA, Ragman comes in and asks her and makes the joke about, what about an evil twin? And then the light bulb in Felicity's head just dings on, and she's like, no, we actually have those. They're from Earth too. She walks in, starts using her sonic cry, but then gets away. So number 7, they start watching all the footage. They learn how she got out of the pipeline prison, and we get like the backstory. So she's been locked up in the pipeline prison at Star Labs on The Flash for the past year or so, ever since she guest starred at the end of season 2. Prometheus got that information knowing that Laurel is a weak point for Oliver and the rest of Team Arrow. They may or may not address it on The Flash. Sometimes things will happen on Arrow that they'll only address in minor ways on The Flash and vice versa. So I guess we'll just have to pay attention next week and find out, because that would be pretty messed up if nobody mentions anything about Black Siren, this big person that they had to face last year. Just totally broke out and didn't set any warning bells off. Number 6 is the DA working Diggle's case, and it seemed like they were setting him up to try and take down the general himself. Like, he's this hardcore person. They haven't made the reveal about his character yet, so I feel like I want to say it, but just in case you guys don't know who the character secretly is on the show, but I feel like most of you know who he is. But it made it sound like he was going to try and eventually kill the general. They might be teeing that up for later in the season. But the district attorney's storyline, independent of Diggle, is going to be big in the back half of the season. There's still some big reveals for his character. Number 5, they catch Black Siren. Oliver still wants to believe there's good in her. Felicity isn't having it. She mostly turns out to be right in the episode, but Oliver still believes there's like a little something in there down deep, so he's going to try and do everything he can to turn her. But they have this really funny conversation where she talks a little bit about her version of Oliver that died 10 years ago. They make it sound like they completely reversed positions, so maybe he's the one that died on the life raft or he just went down and drowned. His father's the one that became the Green Arrow on that Earth. After that, she moved to Central City to try and make a new start for herself, ran into Zoom and started down the dark path, became the Black Siren that you see today. So you could argue that she was good before Oliver died. Once he died, that sort of like broke her heart and set her down the dark path. So that all goes into what happens to her at the end of the episode. But number 3, the funny moment that she has with Felicity was so great. I mean, she ends up knocking her out later, so Felicity gets the upper hand, but she just starts taunting Felicity. What happened between you? Things don't look so hot. Do you have a sister? I hear he likes that. It's totally true, so she's not lying, but she's just trying to get a rise out of Felicity so that she can escape. They eventually recapture her, and it seems like they really want to drag her through the mud. Like she tries to kill Felicity, even though Oliver's like, there must be some good in you, and it seems like she's gone completely to the dark side. The reason I think they did that and then had Oliver say, maybe there's something still inside of her, so I'm going to keep her close in Argus, is so that she can come back next season and potentially have some Black Canary versus Black Siren episode, or they can make her good if they want to in the future. It's really them just putting her on the shelf rather than saying she's always going to be bad or she's always going to be good. It just gives them a couple different options for directions to take the character down the road, because they are confirmed for season 6. I think they'll get a season 7 as well. But I think the other reason for keeping her evil Black Siren and not trying to turn her into metahuman Black Canary and put her back on the team is just so that Katie Cassidy has a different character to play in the way that Rip Hunter is a different character this season. Tom Cavanaugh plays a different character every season. It's just something more interesting for the actors to play, especially if she's not going to be a series regular. So number 2 is the Talia al Ghul reveal. So she's going to train Oliver during Russia. We'll see that during the flashbacks. Then she'll get involved with the Prometheus plot in present day, because for some reason, she trained Prometheus the same way she trained Oliver. So we'll have to learn about that relationship and what he was like when he came to her, what kind of things she taught to Oliver. And if you're wondering about Nyssa, she'll probably come back on the show eventually. They could totally do a Talia versus Nyssa episode, but the actress that plays Nyssa is on a different TV show, so she's not as available. It's kind of like Manu Bennett. Stephen Amell was like, Manu, please come back and play, when people were like, who do you want to come back? Everybody wants Deathstroke to come back and be Deathstroke. But Manu Bennett is a series regular on a couple other TV shows, so it's just really hard for him to do that. But the number 1 is the brand new Black Canary. So if you didn't understand what was happening at the end of the episode in the bar when she sonic screamed those dudes out the windows, that's the actress that's going to pick up the mantle of Black Canary eventually. Whatever's going to happen, they'll explain in the next episode next week. How long that's going to take, whether or not she'll end up wearing Laurel's old jacket or she'll have some different costume. The name on the casting description only reads Tina Boland. It's not a name from the comics, so that could be one of those things where they change it down the line or it's a fake name. But either way, this is the actress who is going to be fighting with Team Arrow as a new vigilante and the Black Canary eventually. You may have also noticed that she's from Hub City. A lot of you ask that they keep teasing Hub City. Does that mean that they're going to do the Question? Mark Guggenheim said they really want to do the Question, but I don't know if they'll fit him in this season or if it'll be a season 6 thing. But he's like right at the top of the list of new comic book characters that they want to do. Just to address Black Canary drama that I saw going on during the episode. I know some of you were complaining about this because it is a change from the comics and a lot of you wanted Laurel to be the Black Canary on Team Arrow. But just remember, they have 2 Black Canaries on the TV show now because one's stashed away in Argus, so they just have a lot of options going into next season. But obviously the back half of the season is going to be crammed with a whole bunch of Talia, new Black Canary, and doubling down on Prometheus stuff. So it is going to get really crazy, really fast. But I feel like it was a pretty great episode. I like the action. I love Katie Cassidy coming back to guest star. I don't know how many more episodes she's going to be in, but because she's in Argus, she might come back at the very end of the season to help them with their Prometheus problem, because he'll definitely be around for the rest of the season. What's going to happen next is they just made some big announcements about the Flash movie. There's some Avengers, Spider-Man behind the scenes stuff for Infinity War that I want to post. And Marvel is supposed to have some crazy big announcement that they're doing in the morning. If it turns out to be something really cool, then I'll do a video for it. So those will be the next couple of videos. Congratulations to the new Flash Ring giveaway winner, Mr. Jolly Green. Please private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact details. There was a new round that started in this video. I'll just announce the winner the next time I post a DC video. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the trailer for the next episode of The Flash, and you can click here for my Flash episode. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.